And I just want to let everyone know, thank you for coming this morning for the workshop for speech, for, winning a speech contest. But before we get started, I would like to give you a little background on Barry Mixon. So Barry Mixon is a native of Harlem, New York, a 14-year U.S. Marine Corps veteran, an international science educator, gemological, I hope I'm saying it right, a storyteller, award-winning teacher, author, and TV host. Mr. Mixon has earned numerous degrees, diplomas, and certifications in biology, chemistry, biochemistry, and gemology. He has co-authored 3 scientific publications with the National Institute of Health and is a graduate of Northwestern University NU Teach Science Program, and in 2012 earned the title Distinguished Lead Science Teacher for the Chicago Public School System. Mr. Mixon is a distinguished Toastmaster and 8-time Toastmasters District Speech Champion and an international master storyteller. In his profession as a gemological storyteller, he has earned numerous prestigious awards and is the recipient of the Chicago Defenders 2020 Man of Excellence Award, the 2021-2022 Congressional Global Teacher of the Year, the 2022 The Most Distinguished Gentleman of Illinois Awards, and 3 days ago learned that he has been chosen to be featured in the 2024 through 2025 edition of Who's Who in Black Chicago. So I want you to welcome Barry Mixon's workshop for today entitled So You Want to Win a Toastmasters Speech Contest. Please allow me to present to you Barry Mixon.
Thank you so much. Let me make sure that I don't know why my head is cut off, but it's okay. Make that work. For 1 second. Technical issues. All right, great. Everybody can hear me. Yes, give me a thumbs up. Excellent, wonderful. I'm so excited. First of all, good morning to everyone. Good Saturday. Happy Saturday, as Jerry likes to say. Happy Saturday, and thank you so much for being here today. I want to give a special shout out to the Toastmasters District 103 leadership team. As you know, if you've been in Toastmasters for a while, nothing happens in Toastmasters without the leadership being a part of it. So thank you so much, Sandra. It's kind of cool when one of your members or the district director comes from your club. So Broadview in the house. Broadview in the house. Thank you so much, Sandra Lane. We got a lot of DDs in our club, so it's really awesome. Thank you for Trina. I don't know if Trina's here, but Trina, I know your work. Thank you so much and appreciate everything you're doing for the district. And of course, special shout out to my girl, Valerie Smith. And it's really an honor because I remember when Valerie first got started in 2011. And, she was coming around. This is when I was starting making my rise up, and she joined Toastmasters. And, you get those Toastmasters that's always asking you questions. And every time I turn around, hey, Barry, let me ask you a question. Do you do this? Do you do this? And I'm so proud to see her years later. I'm getting emotional about it. She look at her. She's just all grown up now. And, she's ready to become the supreme commander. Y'all are not district directors in my world. Y'all supreme commander of District 103. So when I got the phone call, she said, Barry, I want you to do a workshop. I was like, wow. So thank you. And I want to thank all of you. Many of you, you know who you are. This couldn't have happened without you. This has been what I'm going to present to you. Literally, it's a 14-year journey of my being a part of Toastmasters, and more importantly, my competing in Toastmaster conferences and contests. So thank you so much for your input. And you hear it throughout the workshop, the things, and take pride, say, yeah, I did that. I told him that. Yeah, I showed him that. So thank you, guys. And it's an honor for me to be standing here in front of you, talking about the thing that I absolutely love, which is competing in Toastmasters Speech Contest. When Valerie asked me to do today's workshop, you know, the first thing you always think about is, what are you going to call it? What are you going to say? What is your title? And I thought about it and I said, I got it. So you want to win a Toastmasters Speech Contest. And I say it like that because that's what people would always come to me and say. They say, Barry, I'm going to win. I'm like, you're going to win what? I'm going to win the Toastmasters Speech Contest. Fill in the blank. I'm going to win table topics. No, I'm going to win evaluation. I'm going to be the next humorous district champion. And the thing I hear more than anything else, Barry, I'm going to be the ISC, the International Speech Champion. In fact, I've had people come up to me and tell me, Barry, it was on the phone. Barry, I want you to help me. Help you do what? I want you to train me for the International Speech Contest. Okay. But Barry, I don't want to do it the way you did it. How did I do it? You took your time. You went through, you didn't get to the top. I want to win the whole thing the first time around. And now those of you who know me back in my Darth Vader days, you know, I'd have been like arguing with them. You don't know. Now I just go, okay. Because they don't understand. They don't understand. See, I am a gemological storyteller. And as Valerie said, and Valerie is gemological. I know it took me a while to get it too, especially with my New York accent. I am a gemological storyteller. And what I do, literally all over the world, is I take the art, science, history, and magic of gemstones, precious metals, and fine jewelry, and I put it together into a story. What I realized I've been studying gemology for 20 years, and what I realized is that the whole history of mankind revolves around gemstones and precious metals. And when you really think about it, it's the one thing that we all agree upon. No matter where you are in the world, I don't know how many people are on today's call, but it could be one of those like Taylor Swift, 20 million people signed up. But I guarantee that 20 million people, if I asked anyone, what's a diamond? What's a ruby? What's an emerald? What's a sapphire? What's a pearl? They not only would know what it is, but they would understand the value. They would understand the value. Jerry Tucker said, Barry, I want a diamond. And she told me she wanted this diamond. And I said, well, Jerry, this is a 4,600 carat diamond. And she said, I know. And I said, Jerry, you know, it's a whole lot of money. She said, I know. But notice how she knew that. Notice that if I gave you a diamond that size, all of you would understand, one, how rare it is, and two, its value. So when I say, the title of this workshop is, so you want to win a Toastmasters Speech Contest, it's because I need you to understand what it is. I need you to understand what you are signing up for, what you raised your hand to do, what decision that you made when you decided to win, that you were going to win a Toastmasters Speech Contest. Now, notice I didn't say table topics. I didn't say humorous. I didn't say or emphasize evaluation. I didn't even say the International Speech Contest. No. The title of this workshop is So You Want to Win. Not just compete, but win the International Speech Contest. So this is an interactive workshop. You don't expect me to talk for 90 minutes and not say anything. So first question is why? Why do you want to win a Toastmasters Speech Contest? Do I get any volunteers? Now, let me give you a little warning. As Valerie said, I was a teacher in the Chicago public school teaching system. I still teach. So I have absolutely no problems with just calling people out, but I much rather be, Jerry has taught me Toastmasters is the mutually supportive and loving, supportive organization. So I'm not going to just bust somebody out and say you. I would much rather have volunteers. So can I get a volunteer? Can I get someone to tell me why? Well, first of all, wait, let's back up. Raise your hand if you want to win. Raise your hand if you want to win a speech contest. Just show, raise your hand. There you go. I see a couple people. Okay, all right, cool, thank you. You want to win. See, people who really want to win, sit there and hold their hand up. Don't just go, kind of, no. Hold your hand up. Like you're joining the elite. It's like the Marine Corps. You're joining. Who wants to be one of the few, the proud, the Toastmaster champion? Raise your hand. All right, so so anybody gonna volunteer? Oh, I see a victim. I mean, I see somebody already. Joseph, tell me why you want to win.
Well, I have won. I've won the District 30 and District 103 humorous speech contests, but I would like to not lose the international speech contest.
Okay, I got you. I like that. All right, somebody coming from the experience. Tell me someone who's new. Someone who's brand new, you just joined Toastmasters just the other day. Someone told you about the speech contest. You're like, I could do that. Somebody, who? Let's see. Oh, let me see. Rob, what's her name? Rob, Mr. from District 87. District 87. Yeah, you. Okay. Tell me why you want to win. Can't hear you. Muted. Can't hear you. Is it me or is it?
I cannot hear you, sir. Raffin.
Okay. You can hear me?
Raffin.
I got you. Okay, I was just making sure it wasn't me. Okay, so go ahead and tell me why. Tell me your name, because I couldn't pronounce your name, and then tell me why you want to win a Toastmasters speech contest. Can't hear you. Is it me? Can anybody hear him? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't hear him either. He probably
Okay, all right. Let's move on. We're gonna come back to you. Somebody else. Oh, let's put it this way. How many have won? How many people here have won a speech contest? I don't care if it's table topics, evaluation, humorous, or international. Have won. Okay, good. Ready? Here we go. I'm gonna give you 1 minute to think about that speech. 1 minute to think about that speech. Valerie, you can be the timer. And what I want you to do is when you think about that speech, I'm going to call you. I'm going to select you to give me the first 1 to 2 minutes of that speech. Madam Timer, go ahead and set the clock for 1 minute, please.
Okay, let me get my timing card.
It's okay. We're going to do it. We're going to do it the old fashioned way. You got 1 minute. Go.
Test.
You're good now. I'm going to come back to you.
Okay.
45 seconds.
Who's responding? Who's turning?
Nobody's responding right now. You got 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Oh, who's responding? Whoever I pick. Gary, you sound like somebody I want to pick. Gary volunteered. Thank you very much, Gary.
I guess so, but it's been so long since I gave that speech.
Thank you. There's always someone that kind of moves the session right along. Hold that thought, Valerie. Gary, I like that.
I competed against you
10
in the
seconds.
District 30 contest, Barry,
I remember
12 years ago.
5,
long
4,
time.
3, 2, 1. Thank you. Gary, since Gary already volunteered, Gary was so eager. He was like, I can't wait.
That's right. I'm waiting to hear who's going to talk. I can tell you the theme. I can tell you what it was about.
Tell me. All right. So Gary, tell me what you remember. Tell me what you do the first minute of your speech.
All right. Fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests and distinguished dignitaries. Have you ever been bullied? Have you ever witnessed someone being bullied by others? I have. I saw in my junior year, sophomore year actually of high school, a fellow named Randall, who I was acquainted with. He was a classmate of mine, but he wasn't very well respected and he didn't have great social skills.
All right, stop there. Stop there. Very good. Let's give Gary a hand. Thank you very much. Who else? Who else is a I'm looking at the butter sniffer herself. Go ahead. Cynthia knew I was gonna call her. I don't even know why you're shaking your head. Come on, Cynthia. The first minute of your speech. You can do humorous or international, whatever one you want to do.
Imagine this. It's 5 a.m. I'm rising, but I am not shining. I'm a morning person. And I was on a mission. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, those of you who know me, you know that I'm crazy about baking because cooking is my love language. Miss Mary did me a favor. So I decided to bake her a cake. And I put my foot in it. Calm down, calm down. I didn't really put my foot in it. That just means it was good.
All right, stop there. Stop there. See, thank you. Let's get. I know. Thank you. Thank you. It was pain. I was like, oh, where am I going to stop? Because you was in the groove. Jerry, my man, Jerry, my brother from another mother, Jerry. First 1 to 2 minutes of your speech.
Let me get my audio on first.
Okay. All right. We can have some. Okay. We'll wait a second. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, you know, if you're going to do a contest, you got to stand up. You can't sit down, right? That's the first prerequisite. It was a beautiful April day back in 1968. I remember sitting there in the lunchroom with my BFF, my best friend Don, and we were talking about our two favorite subjects. Yep, girls and girls. We weren't talking about food. And as those hot dogs and hamburgers waved through the air, all of a sudden, there was an announcement that came over the loudspeaker. The principal of the school says, fellow students, he goes, Dr. Martin Luther King had just been assassinated. At that moment, you could hear a quiet hush, almost like a feather dropping throughout the lunchroom. I looked at my buddy Don and I said, Don, can you believe this? I said, you remember when you and I were 13 years old and we first heard Dr. King deliver that speech, I have a dream.
Stop there. Stop there. Stop there. I'm just trying to find a good place to stop there. What do you notice? What did you notice about all of the people who spoke? Thank you. Let's give it up for them volunteering. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So what did you notice? What did you notice? I'm going back to Mr. D87. What did you notice about all the people who spoke? Roger? Mr. 80.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Candace, what did you notice? Candace, what did you notice about all the people who gave the first 1 to 2 minutes of their presentation?
They all had strong intros that led with a story.
Say that again. Say that again.
They all had strong intros that led with a story.
That led to a story. Ladies and gentlemen, the first thing that I need to tell you, if you have any hope, any plans on winning a Toastmasters speech contest, you got to tell a story. You got to tell a story. And I will tell you something that I've been saying for 14 years. A speech will never beat a story. Never. The only time a speech speaks a story if nobody else is telling a story. If you got 5, 6, 7 contestants from all over different divisions and none of them are telling a story, then you have a chance. But the second you compete against someone who's telling a story and you're not telling a story, you might as well plan on going home empty-handed. That's it. If you place, it's only because, well, you know, they got to choose a second and third person. Write this down, a speech will never beat a story. That's why you heard it. Did you see Jerry? Jerry just got right up. Boom. He was in. He was in. Did you see the way Cynthia just moved right into it? There was almost no hesitation. I had to cut her off because she was ready to did you see her and Jerry? They're about ready to switch into second gear because a story comes from here. A story comes from here. I remember every championship that I've won. Every one. I've won 8 district championships, table topics, humorous, evaluation, and international speech contest. And each one of them I remember and can do today, right now, because it wasn't a speech. It was a story. That's what I want you to understand, the value of competing in any of the contests. It's just like a diamond. It's just like a ruby. It's just like a pearl. It's just like a sapphire. There are certain characteristics that you have to have in order for that to be a diamond, a ruby, a sapphire, a pearl, an emerald. You have to, and the key component is a story. So what I'm going to do today is tell you and show you how when you compete, when you make the decision to win a Toastmasters speech contest, you have to understand that it is a transformational process. You're not going to be the same person when you sat down and said, you know, I want to compete this year. The second you sit down and put pencil to paper, the transformation's begun. The evolution has begun because you have to take something that's inside of you, an experience, a moment, you overcame something, you had to deal with something. Jerry went back to the day that Martin Luther King was assassinated. And when he gave that just 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, you can feel him. You can see him in that high school. And I've heard that speech. And when I heard the whole speech, my first thought was, oh my God, because as an African-American person, I never really thought about the way white people would see that moment. Martin Luther King was our guy. And when I remember where I was sitting on the couch and Jerry started doing that speech, we would practice. And I started like tearing up because I was just like, oh my God. I never realized how Martin Luther King spoke to everybody until Jerry did that speech. That's what happens when you compete. Not just international, humorous, evaluation, table topics. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you all the secrets today. I'm going to give you all the secrets today, not because I'm benevolent, no. Not because I'm not going to compete again. I will be competing again. But because every time you compete in a Toastmasters speech contest, you have to evolve. You have to be somebody else. You have to take it to not somebody else. You have to take it who you are to the next level. And that's what I'm going to do. Ready? Let me show of hands. Who's ready? Who's ready to learn how to win this whole thing? All right? You have to understand, when you win the Toastmasters speech contest, any of them, it's better than, it feels like the Super Bowl, the World Series, the Stanley Cup, all of them put together. I watched the whole Olympics like, yeah, and okay, you can swim. Can you do a speech for 7 minutes and 30 seconds? No, you can't. It's the same thing. And you need to get excited about it. Before the trophies or anything else, you need to get excited about doing that. So who's ready? Let me see a show of hands. Show of hands. Who's ready to do this? Who's ready to do this? All right, cool. Let's get started. All right, let's get started. This is my laboratory. This is my classroom. I teach kids all over the world. This is my classroom. So we're going to first start out with table topics. Write this down. We're going to start out with table. Two minutes and 30 seconds. That's all the time you have. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, a lot of people, show of hands, who believes that you can't practice for a table topics contest? Who believes that? Right? Show your hand. Come on, be honest. I have people all the time say, you can't practice for table topics. Table topics is extemporaneous. Table topics is spontaneous. Yeah, it is. But you can practice for it. In fact, let me tell you right now, I love table topics. I've won table topics 4 times. Twice in this country and twice somewhere else. In fact, last year, I won it in Corsica. I was sitting in the Mediterranean and I won. This was District 30's Table Topics Contest. Table Topics is to me, is the most elegant of all the contests. You know why? Because Table Topics is like jazz. You ever been to a jazz? Who likes jazz? Raise your hand. Who likes jazz? Table Topics is just like, you ever see, and those of you who've never been to a jazz club, think about the movies that you've seen with someone, Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis, someone, and someone will be playing piano, someone will be playing the saxophone, somebody will be playing the drums, and here's Miles Davis with his saxophone. Miles Davis will sit there and look at the person for a second, hear the music, and the next thing you know, Miles is just playing it. Miles is in the beat. And because Miles Davis is who Miles Davis is, he's going to take that beat and extrapolate on it. That's what table topics is. Let me give you the secret to table topics. And I found this out the hard way. The first time I won table topics was in 2012. Okay. In fact, let me tell you, I'm the only person that's ever won 2 championships in the same conference. So the first one was 2012 table topics. I was so nervous, because everyone told me I had the #1 slot. And everyone said at that time, Barry, oh my God, you got the #1 slot? Oh man, that's the hardest slot to do. What are you going to do? And I was brand new. I was in Toastmasters, 3 years at that point. I'm nervous as all heck. Big giant room. I'm standing in the back of the room as far back as I can, because my strategy was to walk as slowly as I could to the lectern to give me more time. That was my strategy. And here's the question. Contestant #1, Barry Mixon. If you drove your car into the front room of your girlfriend's or your wife's house, what would you say? My first thought was, this is the stupidest question I've ever heard in my life. Contestant #1, Barry Mixon. If you drove your car into the front room of your wife's or girlfriend's house, it's her house, you just drove your car sitting in the house, what would you do? This is how you handle table topics. Most people, when they hear table topics, they try to hear it the first time. No, don't do that. Don't do that. The first time you hear the question, just let it wash over you. Just hear it. Just let it wash. It's like very Zen-like. Just let it wash over you. Just feel it. Just feel the vibe of the question. Feel the direction that the question can take you into. Just feel it. Usually when it's those who see me compete with table topics, when I first hear the question, I usually close my eyes. Just breathe. I just want to feel it. I just want to hear it. And then when they ask you the question again, when they say your name and the number that you were, you get set. You open your eyes, at least for me, you open your eyes, and then you hear it. Then you hear the question. You actually hear the words. Now, how you use your time. This is time management. Time management is extremely important. Write this down, time management. What you do is, from the time that you hear the question the second time, the clock is ticking. You got an extra, depending how fast you walk, you got an extra 20 to 30 seconds. Those of you who walk real slow, those of us who are older, we can use the excuse. So it might take me a minute. No, not that long, but it might take me a minute to get to the lectern. And the whole time I'm walking, I'm thinking. So what happened in 2012 was, as I was walking down to the lectern, remember Tim Conway, the way he used to walk like that? That's the way I was walking. And when I looked into the audience, you know, there's more women in Toastmasters than men, at least in District 103, District 30 at that time. And all the women were sitting there looking at me like, what you gonna say now, Mr. Jedi? You know, like the way Jerry looks at me one time when she knows I'm special, like, yeah, okay. And that's when I realized I had an epiphany. I looked at all the women looking at me, waiting for this answer. Like I actually drove my car into their house and they were still pissed about it. They said, what you gonna say now? And I realized, I said, wait a minute. I'm 52 years old. I've been in trouble with women my whole entire life, started with my mother. You mean to tell me that I get 2 minutes and 30 seconds to speak uninterrupted? I got this. This is no problem at all. Ring, ring. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, distinguished guest. Ring, ring. Hey, baby. Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Yeah. Listen, you having a good day? Yeah. Okay. Remember when we talked about remodeling the house and we said we couldn't afford it? Yeah. I figured out. Yeah. I drove the car into the house. Yeah, into the house. The car is in. You remember where the couch was? It's not there anymore. Why you gotta curse me out like that, baby? Come on. No, really, seriously, it's in the house. Remember that room that we wanted? Now we got space. Yeah, that wall is gone. Okay, listen, what time you gonna come home? About 5 o'clock? 5:30? Okay, listen, come through the back door. Yeah, because there's no more front door. Come to the back door. Okay, bye, love you. That was for real. I was sitting there thinking to myself, what would I say? You know, I mean, I got an experience. I've been married twice, so I knew. Think quick, rabbit. What are you going to say? That's what table topics is. You got to create a story. You got to create a story in your mind of what table topics. Don't just say, you know how the American Miss America pageants, and they'll say, what do you want to do? I would like to do world peace. That's what happens when you just do a basic speech and answer the question. I would like to solve hunger throughout the world and bring more peace. And, you know, that's when the Coca-Cola commercial comes in. That's fine. You might place, but nobody's going to remember because you didn't tell a story. You didn't feel it. You didn't get into it at that moment right now. My Honda was in my girlfriend's house and I'm trying to figure out what the heck am I going to do to get out of it. So when you do table topics, listen to the question. Feel the question. How you practice table topics? Here you go. You see it every day. Do you watch the news? Do you watch television? Do you watch movies? Do you read books? That's your information. You're not just pulling it out of midair. You're not just trying to find something to say. You use your experiences to fill in, to create the story. The second time I won table topics, 2014, I think it was, I was dressed, the theme of the conference was to be a nerd. So I dressed up in a nerd hat. I had the beanie with the propeller. I had the pull-up pants. There was 2 high waters. I had black shoes, brown socks, black shoes, brown pants, and white socks. You know, the big glasses with the tape. And I didn't know I just knew what the theme was. And they asked the question, Barry, what's the one thing that most people don't know about you? Contestant number 3, what's the one thing that most people don't know about you? And as I'm walking, I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to say? And I realized I'm wearing my story. So I said, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, the one thing that people don't know about me, the one thing that has been hidden all these years, and I'm willing to admit today, is that I am a fashion palette. Yes, I'm an influencer. This hat makes it, and I went into this whole thing using what I had right there. I didn't plan it. It just fit in. That's what you have to do with table topics. You have to imagine yourself being a director of a movie. Which direction you're going to take? How are you going to make this work? Because you only got 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And for those of you who are new, who think 2 minutes and 30 seconds is not that long, 2 minutes and 30 seconds is all day long. All day long. Think about all the music you've ever heard, except maybe classical music. 2 minutes and 30 seconds is a long time. Think about all the commercials that you've seen in your life. 1 minute, a 2-minute commercial is almost like a documentary. So you got 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, let me give you another reason why you want to compete, why you want to win a table topics contest. It's job training, ladies and gentlemen. It's job training. When I won, here it is right here. My Oscar. They made it here. The Oscars are made here. This was from my global Oscar, right? They told me at first that I had 3 minutes. They told me in the practices, you had 3 minutes to do your speech. I was speaking in front of 35 million people from all of India, Southeast Asia, China, everywhere. 35 million people to receive my Oscar for being Teacher of the Year. 3 minutes. I'm sitting there writing it out. I'm planning it out. I had it all. I practiced everything. When I got on the stage, the person who presented it to me was Congressman Danny Davis. I got on the stage. Danny Davis was one person after this guy. I walked up. He said, "You got 1 minute." Whoa, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I'm on stage, so it's not like you can have an argument. He said, "You got 1 minute." And I was going to buck it, but I was just like, no, this guy's in charge. Let me not do this. So what did I do? Table topics. All I said to myself is table topics. I got 1 minute. Okay, half the time. What do I say? What do I say that concentrates everything that I was going to say in 3 minutes? Now I have 1 minute. Think about all the job interviews that you have to go on, that they ask you a question and you have to come up with an answer. Table topics. I got into Northwestern University on a full scholarship because of international, or moreover, because of table topics. They had a whole panel of people looking at me like, and they asked me a question, and all I said was, man, this is a table topic contest. Okay, your question. Next. Because I competed in a table topics contest. Let me take a second, take 1 minute, give questions. Anybody got any questions? Who's competing in table topics this year? Who's competing in table topics? Okay. This is the time to ask questions. Yes, go ahead.
Real quick. This is Jerry. I'm not competing, but there's a newer Toastmaster that I had seen in another club, and she gave her first icebreaker the other day. And I just feel that this person has potential. It was very, like, she did the storytelling, and I was just kind of amazed by it. And I had thought maybe speech contest, she might be good with table topics too. So I had thought about her. I said, let me see what Barry says. She's new, and it was her ice, and I thought she did a great job. But the more I speak with you, I'm gonna reference her and reference you. There's something that I think she would be good at. So just want to make that comment.
Yeah, no, thank you for everybody can do table topics. You do table topics all the time. Anybody who got kids, you do table topics. Anybody who's married, male or different to your wife, you got to think about it. How many people? If you've been divorced, you've done years of table topics. If you've been in arguments, you've done. If you've ever gotten pulled over by the police officer, that's table topics. That's table topics. I stopped you because, well, officer, you're just missing out on the Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, distinguished guest. That's table topics. If you want to meet someone, you can come with, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" Or you can tell a story. It's the same technique. Yes, Jerry. Jerry has a question.
Well, it's not really a question. I wanted to kind of reinforce something you said earlier about taking your time, because in contests, we all know that people tend to rush right away. They don't really center themselves. So whether you close your eyes or you have somewhat of a routine or a ritual before you speak. I think it's really important to you know what Barry said about take that 2 or 3 seconds, whatever it is. You don't have to rush right away and give an answer because that gives you time to kind of really formulate. And as Barry said, if you walk slow, you buy a little bit more time, whether that's 10 seconds, 15, 20 seconds. And I remember when he and I were new Toastmasters, Tim Wilson, who used to say, first thought, best thought. You don't have to overthink it because a lot of times that's when we get ourselves into trouble. We start overthinking it. And to your point of, what's the story behind it? What can I tell that I can, have some frame of reference rather than just giving, well, Mr. Toastmaster, going into that. And I wouldn't recommend those of you who've competed a lot. I'm not a big fan right away of saying, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, because that makes you just like everyone else. And when Barry did the nerd speech and also the garage, I remember both of those. And he'll get to the Superman speech, I'm sure, superhero speech when he won humorous. He didn't start with the traditional stuff at all. He took the time and then delivered his answer. So I think that's important for us to just keep that top of mind when we're competing. And that's true not only for TT, but for any of the contests.
Thank you, Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. Jerry's another one who's been through. Jerry's been in Toastmasters about 6 months longer than me. And so these are what you're hearing is the experience. And let me say this at first. I have competed and I've never come in third place, and I've only not placed twice, and we'll talk about later on, but I've always come in either first or second place. And so a couple of things I want to say with that. One, I don't know where we came from. I'm old school. There was once upon a time, those who are new, there was once upon a time when the speech contests were glorious events. I mean, like Hollywood Oscar events. Yes. It was unbelievable. It was like, when I competed in 2009 with the Toastmasters, with the Return of the Jedi, I had been in Toastmasters for 4 months at that point. That was my district, my CC speech. Those of you the old system. That was my 10th speech. There was literally 600 to 700 people in the audience, and I had my lightsaber. A real Jedi never keeps a lightsaber too far away. Anyhow, I had my lightsaber in front of everyone, and it was incredible. It was incredible to stand there. And so, and to Jerry's point, settle yourself. Your heart's going to be racing. Your adrenaline. Jerry can tell you, I used to sweat through my suits. I mean, like T-shirt, underwear, everything, sweat through. I would even hug people after because I'd be so sweaty. But now, it's not that I don't sweat now. You understand that time, you can use time. Time can be your friend. You got 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but people who know how to do it, I got, 240, 245. I got 15 extra seconds because I'm going to use it. Second thing is, and I don't know how we got there, but people don't do greetings anymore. There was once upon a time, you always said, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, the distinguished guest, or Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, distinguished guest. Now you got people who just start. It's kind of like, hey, it's kind of like walking up to a woman and say, hey, I like you. Want to get together? Like, I don't even know you. What is your name? But yet you want to get, that's what you're doing when you just start your story. You can't do that. I mean, you can, but you're not going to win. You can because the audience is used to hearing stories. They're used to hearing that. So you have to start with some kind of greeting. I'm not particularly a fan of the way people do nowadays, because that never used to be this. People used to say, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, distinguished guest, then they start. Now you have what I call a prequel. You have like a trailer. You give the story and then you go, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, distinguished guest. It's okay. I've done it. I mean, my last one I won that because that's the trend. But I don't practice like that. I don't necessarily practice like that. So as to what Jerry said and what I'm saying, time is your friend. Come to the audience. Come to the stage, especially if you're new. Take a deep breath. When you're doing table topics, the story may not be all complete. let the story flow. I didn't know what I was going to do. All I knew is that I had all these women looking at me all sideways and stuff. What are you going to say? So start your story out and then let the story carry you the rest of the way. Get into the story and the story will carry you the rest of the way. And then you look at your time. Green, yellow, red. That's why you can practice. When you hear a story that somebody did something on the news, how do you feel about Jay-Z? Table topics. How do you feel about the price of bread? Table topics. Your child saying, I don't want to go to school. Table topics. That's how you practice. That's how you practice. All right, I'll take two more questions. So, Jerry, you had your hand up?
Jerry Tucker had her hand up first, B.
Okay, yes. Jerry, go ahead. You go.
Oh yeah,
I'm sorry.
real quick, Barry. You know, a lot of times in tabletop is contests, you have some contestants that some people say, well, how did they win? They didn't answer the question, or they went off into another land. And that's like you say, let the story flow. What happens a lot of times, if you can say enough in a tabletop is contest, you can still, be set to win. Well, sometimes when they veer, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just the way they interpreted the question.
That's an excellent question and comment. Let me first say this. Stop when you lose, stop acting like the world came to an end. Be honest. Some of you know that when you competed, you came in there with nothing. You knew it. You knew it from club level. You knew, let's be honest. We're adults. Let's be honest. Some of you came in there, you did a speech yesterday. You wrote it yesterday, and you're like, yeah, okay. Or and not so much table topics, because table topics is right there, but just understand what it is. And if you lose, even though you thought you did a good job, take a step back and go, what could I have done better? I'll give you an instance, okay? This was actually, so we did table topics. Everybody understand? I don't want to leave table topics right now, but we'll go back to that. But yeah, if you ask yourself a question, was it a story? To what Jerry's saying, was it a story? You might have said something, you might have opened your mouth and words came out, but if the audience doesn't remember it, then that's the reason why they didn't remember it, because it wasn't a story. Someone told a better story than you. And you have to be honest with you that when I first won or lost, actually what came in second place in the International Speech Contest for my Return of the Jedi speech, there's a reason why I lost. There was a part of a story I didn't tell. And I have to be honest. Was I upset? Oh yeah, I was ready to have old friends that had F-18s with napalm on it just take out the city. I was pissed. They're like, what do you mean I lost? Everybody told me I was going to win, but I didn't. So, Jerry, you had a question. You good?
And Barry, there's a question.
I just wanted to make one comment. Again, something you do all the time is that before Barry starts speaking, and he was talking about looking at the audience, kind of getting focused and taking that time, he always smiles before he delivers his first line, because that automatically engages the audience every single time.
You have to be, and that's a good segue into evaluation.
Barry?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, somebody had a question. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There's a question in the chat.
Yes. What's the question?
He wants to know, how do you find the right story for your table toppers question under 30 seconds?
Practice. Yeah, that's an excellent question. Practice. You're always thinking in terms of how would you answer that question? How would you see politicians all the time not know how to answer a question? I'll give you an example, not to get political, right? What was the governor? Who was the former governor of South Carolina? The woman that was running for president. What was her name? Oh my God, I can't remember her name. Anyhow, she was the governor of South. Yes. She was the governor of South Carolina. Slavery started in South Carolina. So when the guy said, excuse me, are you going to say what about slavery? She literally, you can see her saying, oh, shoot. That was a question she should have known coming. That would be like asking me with the topic of is about being African American. Did I not expect someone to ask me a question about being Black? So that's how you practice. That's why you can do table topics. I'm always asking myself questions. And here's another way you can do it. When you go to your Toastmasters meetings, not just the one in your club, but other meetings, you hear the questions. You hear the way people respond to the question, and then ask yourself. Jerry and I used to do it all the time. Jerry's going to all kinds of clubs. He'd come back, man, Barry, I heard a question today. What's the question? Oh man, that was good. How did I answer that question? Because you're practicing. You're practicing. You're hearing about what's going on. You see what's funny, what's not funny. And that's how you get the information. You store up a file, literally like an internal file or mental file of your answers. You think about your experiences and how you can weave that into the story. When I won in Corsica, the question was, and Gary was there. Gary's at District 30, and Jerry. The question was something like, how can looks, when can looks be louder than words? Something along those lines. And I'm sitting there thinking, and the first person that came in my mouth was my mother. My mother could look at me and whole paragraphs could come out of her. Just one look. You know, those of you who are married and stuff, you know that look. Jerry, give him that look. Jerry knows the look. Jerry could probably do it without even thinking about it. Just that look like, and you know you in trouble. So my mother didn't speak to me for years. She just looked at me and I knew exactly what she was saying. And sometimes I'd put it in different languages just to make it go a little easier. But I thought about that from my experience. Evaluation. Let's go into evaluation. Evaluation contest. Evaluation contest is the most romantic of all the contests because you have to feel somebody. You have to get into their energy. And the 2 times I didn't place at all was during the evaluation contest. Jerry was one of them. Jerry and I have been together for a long time. So it was a guy who did, Jerry remembers it. It was the guy that the target speaker was talking about how he had brain surgery. Like literally the way he told his speech, I can imagine them pulling his brain out of his skull, working on it and putting it back in. And he was standing there doing this speech. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God. He's a miracle. And guess what I did with that evaluation? I evaluated him. I told all the wonderful things about him because I was so impressed. And what's the one thing I didn't do? I didn't tell him how he can improve his speech. I was walking down the hallway after the contest was over because they didn't announce the winners. And Jerry said, you know you didn't win that, right? I said, yeah, I know. He said, you know what you did, right? I said, I never said anything was wrong because there was nothing wrong. Well, you know what you should have did was I couldn't do that. The second time I lost evaluation, which was just 2 years ago, the guy was, Gary, you remember, he was an older gentleman. I think he was like 90 years old. He got up on that stage. I'm already impressed. I mean, I'm 64 in 2 weeks, so I'm like, wow. He got up on that stage. He had been a Toastmaster for like 50 years, and he did a wonderful speech. I was like, oh my God, take me to your leader. So what was I supposed to say? You know what you should have did? And so with evaluation, it's like making love. You got to get into the person. The biggest mistake that people make with evaluation, there's 2 types of people in Toastmasters. There's technicians and then there's storytellers. That's the only, really, that's the technicians are the people that say, you know what you should do is move your right hand this way, move your head this way, and they never talk about the story at all. You know, you took 3 steps to the left and then you did. Not saying that's not important, but that's not the story. And Gary can correct me, Toastmasters rules say that the target speaker should be someone that has from 0 to 6 speeches. So why are you going to judge someone who just started Toastmasters as if you were judging me? If you told me, Barry, you're a professional, you do this and everything else, I would accept it because hell, I've been doing this for a minute. But somebody who just signed their name and just got pulled in, convinced to be the target speaker, and now you're going to judge that person based on their vocal variety and all this. No. You want to judge them on what they were trying to say when they gave the speech. You want to get into their head. You want to think about what were they trying to say when they started writing their speech, and how did it reflect on you? How did it make you feel? And if I could, can I make a slight adjustment? Can I change this? If you talked about this, like I'll give you an example. I had the advantage of listening to Firsty's speech, the one that he won the semifinals. His original speech, and Valerie was there, he was talking about how his mother didn't say that she loved him ever. Ever. It was, he made a whole big thing of it. And then when he got to the point of his mother saying it, he kind of like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, as someone whose mother never told me that she loved me, I wanted to hear what it felt like for you. What was it? What was that moment that it felt that your mother finally said that? And if you don't say that in the speech, you're not going to win. And I didn't hear it, but I heard he makes some changes. That's what you have to do. You have to be willing. When you do evaluations, give an honest evaluation. All of us know that we've seen Toastmaster speeches at every level, area, division, and district, that you sit there and scratch your head like, how did he ever get out of club? How did he ever get out of division? Ladies and gentlemen, and I know some people are not going to like this, but you're not helping your fellow Toastmaster by sitting there saying, oh my God, that was wonderful. And all they said was, Mary had a little lamb, little lamb. I've heard people say, oh my God, Barry, the way you said lamb, I'm a vegetarian and you make me want to eat lamb. What? Did you get that out of that speech? Some people will evaluate. I don't care what okay, here's a speech. And someone will say, oh, Barry, the way you did that, I understood duck because of you. You're like, what? And then we let them go on to area representing your club. Barry Mixon won the area champion with that. Barry Mixon won division with that. Here you are, the district contest. This person is representing your club. Barry Mixon is representing your club. And I go in there and say, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests. And people will sit there and go, oh my God, it was wonderful. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm not saying you need to beat somebody down, but all the contests I've ever won, someone told me, oh, let's move on to humorous. It took me 5 years to win the humorous speech contest. 5 years. Literally, it wasn't like that I wasn't trying. Because every time I thought I had a humorous speech, I was dating a girl at the time. You know how women are when they love you, they tell you, they don't want to hurt your feelings. So I said, baby, got a speech. Here we go. Ready? Boom. And I start going into my speech and she's sitting there looking at me like, and at the end, I was like, what'd you think? She said, isn't it supposed to be funny? What? What? When I won table topics, you know how I won that? It was a brand new Toastmaster because, I thought I was all that. 2012, and this young Toastmaster came up to me. It wasn't just young, meaning how long she's been in the organization. She had been in the organization for maybe like 3 months. And she comes up to me and she says, can I ask you a question, Barry? And I'm looking at her like, yes, young lady, what do you ask? I'm Barry Mixon. How can I help you? And she says, when you do evaluations, aren't you supposed to speak to the person that you're evaluating? For some reason, it never dawned on me. I was so busy speaking to the audience, I didn't speak to the person who I was evaluating. And that's how I won. That's how I won. So when someone gives you an evaluation, give them a real evaluation. Give them the real stuff. Help them win. And one other thing I will say is that I don't do, I know people do, don't shop your speeches. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think that's one of the silliest things that you can do. You can do it But the problem with that is this. Toastmasters, as Bill Function once told me, Toastmasters is a volunteer organization run by amateurs. So nobody's gone to like speech training. It's not like we're the school of Juilliard. So everybody has their opinion. And what's going to happen is if you take your speech to every club on the planet because you want their feedback, guess what's going to happen? You're going to come back with ideas from everybody or a whole lot of people, and it's no longer your speech. It's no longer your speech. And if you do it too late in the process, then you're going to hear their voice over your voice. I'll give you an example. When I did the Jedi speech, of course, I had my lightsaber. Bill Function, who trained Ed Hearns, great, God rest his soul, great coach. He says, well, Barry, he had this Irish brawl. Well, Barry, I don't think you need the Jedi. I don't think you need the lightsaber. A real speaker can speak without a prop. And I'm listening to him because, I'm new. I'm like, and I thought about it. I said, wait a minute. Bill, have you ever seen Star Wars? No, Barry, I've never seen it. I'm like, well, then you don't know what the hell you talking about. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the millions of other people who have seen Star Wars and understand what it means to have a lightsaber, period. You understand. Had I changed, had I done what he told me to do, I would have, well, in fact, that year, no, I lost. I came in second place, but the person who beat me, Greg Thompson, looked at my lightsaber and came up with something even better. Yeah. Why did I get that? Because you have to decide. So I recommend keeping a small circle of friends, people who know your voice, who know your sound, who know what you're trying to say. Work with them. Work with people that you have respect, that they know what good sounds like. Then this way they can tell. You're not going to talk about jazz. You're not going to ask someone who knows nothing about jazz, what do you think about Dizzy Gillespie? It's going to sound like garbage to them, possibly, because they never heard it before. Somebody had a question.
Yeah, so Barry, I know we getting to almost like the end. Can you give a little bit of emphasis on how to win? I know you're going to be getting to an international speech contest because I know that is the largest thing.
Oh, that's no problem. Thank you. No, I'm checking the time. That's another thing. We'll talk about disqualification in a second due to time. But anyhow, the reason why I can put humorous and international together because it's really truly the same thing. I think humorous speech contest is the hardest of all to me. I'm funny, but being funny for 7 minutes and 30 seconds is very, very difficult. Being a humorous speech contest, so I said table topics is like jazz, evaluation is romance, humorous is autobiographical. If you listen to people like I grew up with Richard Pryor, people like that, their humorous speech was always about themselves or something they've experienced. So when I did, as Jerry said, it's hard to be a superhero, that wasn't, or even the speech I just did, that wasn't a speech I made up. I lived that. I had an argument with my girlfriend at that time. My girlfriend was 5'2", okay? I'm 6'1", 250 pounds, United States Marine Corps. She was pissed off at me and she was manning up on me. She was all in my chest. And I'm looking at her like, oh my God. And after we got over, I said, let me ask you a question. If I was the Hulk, would you have acted that same way? She said, absolutely. I don't care what size you are. I don't care what you can do. You wrong, you wrong. And that's what I was thinking. You know what? It's hard to be a superhero because the moment that your woman, she don't care that you got a suit and a Batmobile and a car. She wants to know, why'd you come home late tonight? Humorous is about you. When I did my speech, just what last cycle, humorous speech contest, DSM-5, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. As Jerry said, I'm in that book. I'm in that book. I've heard on page 35, I'm in that book. This ain't no joke. When they said about my mom was an alcoholic, and I read on page 301 that's called non-specific alcohol-related disorders, I'm like, damn, that's me. So when I did that speech, I was telling my story. I was telling my story. And that's where I'm talking about, even when you come in second place, it's okay. Did you tell your story? That's what you want to do, guys. It's not about the trophy. And it is about the trophy, but you have to use it in a different way. The trophy is a symbol of what you've created. And going into the International Speech Contest, oh, ladies and gentlemen, the International Speech Contest, that's not a speech, that's not even a story, that's a symphony. When you compete in the International Speech Contest, it is like taking everything that's inside of you and presenting it. Or as I tell my clients, you got 7 minutes and 30 seconds to talk to God. What are you going to say? And I'm serious about that. What are you going to say? This is your moment. See, when I said you got to know where you're at, I'm not in my office. I'm not in my house. I'm in Carnegie Hall. In front of, I don't know how many people are on this call, but in my mind, I got hundreds of thousands of people watching this Zoom call right now. Valerie said, I invited people from all over the district. I'm like, okay, here we go. Because this is your moment. This is your chance to create a sound that no one has ever heard. Don't just, I've heard people who want to win, who think they're going to win the International Speech Contest, and they say that they didn't practice. That they didn't practice. I've heard people say the night or 2 days before the International Speech Contest, how they were on the beach drinking mint juleps. Okay. I've had people tell me that they know they're going to win the International Speech Contest. You know why? Because they're anointed. They're anointed. Or people who, you know, they did second city, third city, whatever else and stuff like that. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. When I compete this year, nobody's going to care that I won 8 times. Nobody's going to care. In fact, it's even worse if you won more than once, because they're expecting a show. People who like reusing speeches, you can do that. You can do that, but there's a danger in that. I did it. My Jedi speech, I did it in 2009. I came in second place. Greg Thompson said, you should do it again. Of course, I'm new. I'm thinking, yeah, okay, well, I'll do it again. In fact, this was my original lightsaber. This one was a one that I had $500. I wanted to do something different. A $500 handcrafted lightsaber. I came in second place. You know why? Because the energy that I created with it the first time wasn't the same thing the second time around. Especially if you've been in Toastmasters for a while, why do you want to come up with the same speech? I've been in Toastmasters for 14, 15 years. I did the Jedi speech in 2009. How many people would really want me to compete with the Jedi speech that I did in 2009? Do I still feel that I'm a Jedi Knight? Absolutely. Do I still can make the correlation between being a Toastmaster and being a Jedi Knight? Even more so now, 14 years later than I did. But I'm not going to do the same speech because you've already heard that. Think about it in music. Would you want to, whatever music artist that you sing, would you want them to keep singing the same song over and over and over and over and over and over and over again? They got one song and that's it? It's called, there's a name for it. It's called a one-hit wonder. So when you do the International Speech Contest, which is this year, and you don't have a lot of time, if you haven't been thinking about it for a while, you need to start today, right now, because usually speeches take time to evolve. When I won, 2022, that speech that I called the sound, man, that speech has been in my head for 30 years. For 30 years. Amadeus came out in 1984. That soliloquy, that monologue that I said in the beginning, you know, on the page, it looked something. I heard that speech in my head for 30 years. I had been studying Mozart for forever. I've always loved Mozart. So when I did that, speech, that was coming here. And you know what's one of the most beautiful things, that when you do a speech that comes from here? When we had the conference, Gary Bevins was sitting right in front of me. And they was, because it was remote then, so all the speeches were recorded. And Gary, I don't even know if you're aware of it, you did the most beautiful thing in the world for me. when we got to the end of the speech, and I was just like, for one brief shining moment, create. And Gary said, a lot of people said, but I heard Gary said, a sound. Oh, here's somebody that's so into my speech that they were able to say the next words of my speech. That is what you can do when you compete in the International Speech Contest. Everything that you see here, those of you who are on Facebook, I live in France. I just got told 2-3 days ago that I am the who's who in Chicago. I teach all over. I was in Shanghai and Beijing this morning. How did that happen? Now, I know I'm devastatingly good looking. I know. I know. My low flowing hair. No, it's because of the contest. It's because of the contest. It's not about the win. I have, God knows, 40 trophies. It's not about that. It's about the experience. I'm not even the same person I was. Jerry can tell you, I'm not the same person I was 14 years ago. A lot of people can, Jerry can tell you. There's a whole lot of people that can tell you. Barry Mixon back in the day, man, please. How did I get here? Because I had the courage to compete. Toastmasters was a place for me to finally tell my sound. And when you win, it's like, wow, you like that? Oh, let me try that again. Oh, you like that? Let me try that again. Oh, you like that? You wonder, let me try it again. It's about the International Speech Contest is about creating something, your experience, your feelings, your emotions, a moment in your life, and you got 7 minutes and 30 seconds to say it to the world. 2011, I created a speech called Creating Your Symphony. That's when I really started realizing it. When I used Mozart, I said, I know exactly what Mozart felt like when he wrote his music. No, I'm not a genius. No, I haven't written 600 pieces of music. And the ones that I have created, some of them, most of them. Okay, Jerry, fine. None of them will ever be considered masterpieces. But I know what it feels like to take something that I've created, my feelings, my emotions, my ideas, and put it together into something that only lasts for 7 minutes and 30 seconds. I know what it feels like to take that thing that I've created and have it resonate with people that I don't even know, people whose backgrounds and experiences are totally different than my own. I know what it feels like to have people come up to me after my speech is over to tell me that my speech made them feel just a little bit brighter, just a little bit more beautiful. I know what it feels like to create a sound that no one has ever heard. I know. And although I have no musical talent whatsoever, I know what it feels like to create a symphony. That's what you do when you compete in the International Speech Contest. You create, it's not about the trophy, it's about what happens inside of you. You're not the same person because now you had to look inside of yourself. When I did in the winter of 1992 that I won the International Speech Contest, I had been homeless for a year in the city of Chicago. I remember it was on a Tuesday when I wrote this line in a speech. I was in my other room and I wrote the line in a speech, 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was bawling because in that speech I wrote, I used to envy the people that can sing and dance because I can't dance, I can't sing and I can't dance. But nobody wants to hear biochemistry from a bum. Nobody wants to give you a job when you can't fill out the second line of the application. You know, the one that says address? That wasn't a speech. I'm trying not to get emotional now. That wasn't a speech. I lived that. I lived that. And Toastmasters gives you an opportunity to tell that story, whatever your story is. That's why when I say, so you want to win a Toastmasters speech contest? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? This is a journey. Now, you want to just join and, just be part of the group? Okay, go. If you want to tell me that you don't want to practice, okay, thank you. If you tell me that, you don't write down your speeches because, they come directly from God, I don't know, there's a thing called the Bible. Somebody wrote something down, but, maybe you're different. But if you don't understand and look at table topics, humorous speech contests, evaluation, and international, if you don't understand that this is one of the greatest moments of your life, that you have people to listen to you for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, for 3 minutes and 30 seconds, 7 minutes and 30 seconds, then you're not going to win. And even if you win, if you didn't really get into it, it won't feel like nothing to you. You'll be standing there, you'll have a nice trophy. And like, thank you very much. Yeah, very cool. But I remember how I got this. Not the actual doing. I remember all the days and nights and how many times I've practiced to get this. This is what I love. Not this. This is just a symbol of something that I took, an idea that I took in my mind, an idea that you can take in your mind, work it out from the club level, a little bit more work, the area level, division level, a little bit more work. And then when you get to be on the district stage with people like Jerry Evans, like Chad, like Eric Feigendager back in the, with Gary, if I'm competing against Gary Bevins, I'm bringing my best because Gary ain't playing. He ain't playing. I don't go in there like, look at Gary. He all smiling and stuff. Like, Gary don't care when it comes to the Gary. Gary is sweet as pie. But when he beats you, he's going to step over your lifeless body and say, Toastmasters is a mutually supportive and positive learning environment. Hello. But if you know what you've done, if you know what you've created, if you know the time that you put into it, and when you win, your life will change. Your life will change. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Everything that you see that I've done and created in my life has come because of the Toastmasters Speech Contest, including keeping your time. And one thing I want to say about time, ladies and gentlemen, the worst thing you can ever do in your life is disqualify for time. I don't care. I don't care what nobody says. To me, there's a special place in purgatory, Toastmasters place, for people who disqualify for time. But you know what that means? It means you didn't practice. That means you didn't practice. You should practice. If you want to win, except for table topics, even though you still have to maintain time. But if you want to win evaluation, humorous, and especially the international speech contest, and you disqualify for time, to me, there should be a special trapdoor and you should just fall. Because that means that you didn't care enough about your speech to practice. I don't care. I teach my clients that if a hole opens up, not just a hole, an abyss opens up as you're falling down the abyss, and let's say Valerie is my timer. As you're falling down the abyss, Valerie's falling with me with the stopwatch, and she should say at 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and I should either be 5 seconds before or 5 seconds, or either on time, 5 seconds before or 5 seconds after where I should be on that speech. I don't care. Because you have practiced that speech so many times that you have no other choice. You have no other choice but to say that speech, that word at 6 minutes and 10 seconds. When I got, and last story I'll tell you, when I got into Northwestern University, it was over the phone. Well, I had to do the whole interview, but the original conversation was over the phone. This was just after 2012, or right before 2012. And I told him I was about to compete in the world champion, the semifinals and everything else. He's like, well, how much time do you have? I said, you get 7 minutes and 30 seconds. He's like, man, what can you do with 7 minutes and 30 seconds? I said, really? I said, you got to watch. He said, yeah. I said, I did my Return to the Jedi speech. I said, the speech should be 7 minutes and 16 seconds. He timed me. At the end of it, and I didn't even have the lightsaber because he was over the phone. So I just made the sound. And at the end of the speech, I said, what did I come up with? He said, 7:22. I said, okay, I'm a little out of practice. That was years. I did that speech in 2009. I did that interview in 2012. That's what it means when you understand what it takes to win a Toastmasters speech contest. So There's so many things I can tell you, but I hope you got something out of it. I hope you got that you got to tell a story. I hope that you got to practice, practice, practice. And the second thing, you got to believe that you deserve. You're going to do the work to win a Toastmasters Speech Contest. So I will end this with my favorite French word, voila. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barry. Oh my God, the energy, the knowledge and wisdom that you share with our attendees is priceless. And I did share 2 links that of your speech that you gave, Return of the Jedi. It's on YouTube. And I also put Creating Your Symphony. That was 12 years ago. And that was posted on YouTube as well. I want everyone to get a chance to look at both of those videos. Do anyone have any questions for Barry? I mean, this is a great time to ask questions because if you're competing, you are asking the expert who knows. Jerry.
Yeah, real quick, Barry, going back to when you spoke on the evaluators, now that's very important in preparing. Can you do a quick dialogue and say a speech is terrible, it could be better, and there's the evaluator not wanting to hurt their feelings. What are just 3 things that you can mention to that person that they absolutely need to do? Because a lot of Toastmasters don't want to hurt feelings, and I get that too. But like you said, if someone's preparing and the proper information isn't being shared, then they're really disappointed then. So what dialogue and evaluation? Quick.
Excellent question. Get into what they were trying to say. Get into what they were trying to say. In fact, when I did the Creating Your Symphony speech, that was at a special event that Jerry did. That's when Prez, the first time I met Prez, and Prez was doing a speech about landing, coming here in the United States, and the way he landed the plane. And he made me feel like I was on the plane. So the way you evaluate someone is, don't be you, be them. What are they trying to say? If there was a woman talking about having a baby and what did it mean to have a baby? Obviously, I will never have that experience. But if there was something that she could have said that made me understand the pain, made me understand what it means to carry, 7, 8 pounds for, the middle of summer and feel that pain. And if there was something like I said with Fercy, my mother never told me she loved me, ever. So when he said that his mother actually said that, I was just like, I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. What was that like for you? Because Lord knows I would have loved to have heard that. That's how you do. You don't break them down. Just ask them what would get into what they said, like Toastmasters teach us. Tell us what was good, and then tell them not so much what was bad, but how could they have made it something that resonated more with you? Because when you do that, then they feel empowered. You don't just shoot them down, because they had the courage to say something. But what part was good? What part did he get? Barry, when you talked about being bald-headed, yeah, I got that. Because you're bald-headed. But now does that make sense?
Thanks, Barry. Thank you.
So Barry, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to contact you?
My email is thegemhunter, THEGEM, Hunter, standard spelling, HUNTER, at mac.com. And, shameless plug, my show is called Gem Hunter Stories. It's on Wednesdays on YouTube and Facebook. And literally each week I have to do an international speech for an hour. And I don't use a script. I don't have a teleprompter. It's like I got to feel it every week. So if you want to see, a lot of people talk mess. Well, all you have to do it, then they don't do it themselves. Every week I have to come up with a story where I link gemstones together with people. And my show is broadcast all over the world. So I got people from France and India and China who watch my show, who understand gemstones in a whole completely different way because of that. So I have to link what I know to what they know and what their experience is and tell a story.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I'm also going to put that link in there too on your Facebook page.
Thank you.
for the Jim Hunter videos. So I just want to say
Gem Hunter Stories. Gem Hunter Stories. It's on
Gem
YouTube and
Hunter Stories.
Facebook. Gem Hunter Stories.
Oh, okay, on YouTube. Oh, okay.
Because the most important thing you can ever do in your life, guys, is tell a story. That's what this is about. And Toastmasters, I love Toastmasters. Because Toastmasters, I mean, you know, I have my challenges about some of the, but the thing that's the most beautiful thing about Toastmasters is they give you a chance to tell your story. Not only give you a chance to tell your story, give you a chance to create your story. To create your story. Toastmasters changed my life because, not because of it, I pay the same dues as all you guys, but the contest allowed me to tell my truth, to tell what was important to me, to tell you what resonated for me, and everything started growing once I started seeing the value of my story, which is what my business is.
Right.
Does that make sense? Did this make sense to anybody? Raise your hand if this made sense to anybody. What I'm saying, raise your hand. Okay, thank you.
All right. All right.
And I will see you because I'm competing in wait, I just lose my I'm competing in the tabletoppers contest. So you can take notes and listen to what I said. And if not, okay, I'll see you. I'll see you on the stage. There you go. See, that's the whole thing. And like I said, nobody cares how long I've been doing this. All they care about is what's happening today. That's it. That's what you have to do. No, but Candace is sitting there like, I don't care how many times he competed. Okay, I'm going to do this. That's what Joseph is sitting there right now. Look at Joseph rubbing his hand like, oh, I can't wait to face this guy. I can't wait to face this guy. This guy, I mean, and literally, that's what you got to understand. I'm not sitting here like, I'm Barry Mixon. No, when I compete, I will compete at the club, the area, the division level with the same thing. Gary, look at Gary's all excited. Gary's like, you know, I need to compete again. I really need to compete again. That's what we do. And if all of us start really competing with the level of what this contest thing could be about, not only will you grow, but the competition's awesome. Even when you lose, you're like, Gary's going to do a speech. I'm like, damn, Gary, how you going to beat me like that? And he was like, you know, Barry, he'll say it all nice and stuff, but there you go. There you go. And then guess what? Next year. Wait until next year.
Yes.
Okay, so there you go.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Barry, for everything. And did you want to take a picture or are we good?
Yeah, let me take a picture. Let me take a, you take a picture. I don't even know how do I take a picture?
Yeah, I think what I do, I just do like a screenshot, but you gotta...
screenshot. I don't have my, which one right here? There's actually I can do it.
Okay. All right. And then if you want to be on the camera, what I'm gonna do is just get ready to smile because I have to do like a snippet. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, guys. If you liked my presentation today, please, I'm on LinkedIn, so I appreciate any comments, any recommendations, comments, and that's one. Bella, just give me one more second. Another opportunity when you compete, it's money, guys. I'm from New York. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Think about it. How many people, well, everybody on here has a job, hopefully has a job or is working for a corporation, and they're always looking for speakers. They're always looking for people who can speak. Guess what? When you're on this stage of the International Speech Contest, other things happen. That's why I live in France, because I did an open house speech for free at a French club. And 2 years, a guy gave me his business card, told me that he would like for me to speak to his group. 2 years later, he calls me up and said, hey, remember me? No. Would you like to speak to my 80 French people? Yes. That was in 2015. I've been going back and forth and now live part-time in France because of Toastmasters, because of an international speech. It wasn't even international. It was just a speech that changed my life. All for the same money that you pay for your dues. So, hello, that's all I'm saying. Pay your dues and compete. There you go.
I have to do one more photo because I had it under the wrong setting.
Okay.
So
You didn't get my hair on my right side? Okay, there you go.
So we got to do one more picture, everyone. So if you want to be on the photo, you have to take yourself off, you know, whatever. Okay, let me do this one more time. Okay. So big smile, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. You could have been doing 1,000 different things. I'm really, truly honored to be able to share with you just what this thing called contest have done for me. I mean, I think you can feel how sincere I am. I didn't have any script. There's nothing. This comes from the heart. This comes from the heart. A whole hour-long speaking that comes from the heart. And that's what you have to do.
You told a story, Barry.
You told us. Thank you. You told a story. That's it.
Yes,
Okay.
it was very, very enlightening. I very much appreciate your time, Barry, and that I got the invitation in time.
See, told you. I told you. Yeah, but no, really, it's a beautiful thing. Don't come into it halfway. Not because it's not about winning. It's about what it can do for you. What it can do for you. I came in second place in the humorous speech contest, and I loved being able to share my mother in a beautiful way. My mother, I had all kinds of issues, and it was so much fun to do that story about my mother in front of all my friends and family. Now, Jerry now knows why. She always knew I was special, but now she really knows why I'm special and why. And why. There you go. And guess what happened? Last thing, you know what job I got after that? I got called. I now work in the behavioral health care clinic, and I work with kids. Hello. I'm not only in the DSM-5, I teach kids. There you go. All right. Thank you, guys.
Very great job today, Barry. As always, thank you for your talents. I invited my clubmate RJ. He's in my club out here in Maryland. RJ's desire is to be the world champion. He's trying to knock me off, Barry. He's trying to knock myself off. He's trying to knock Cynthia off. He's trying to knock off all the top speakers. But I had to let him come here and see your magic today, Barry, because you definitely got the magic.
Well, I'm gonna let you know, RJ, Chad is a Jedi for real. Chad be all nice and sweet and all this other, all this Lakota wisdom and stuff like this. But when it comes to being on that stage for 7 minutes and 30 seconds, Chad don't take no prisoners. I'm just letting you know. Okay, he's gonna shake your hand and y'all can go eat, drink, and everything else and stuff. But when that time comes and they say, Chad, understand, Chad is gonna bring it. And if he knows you're competing, guess what he's gonna do? He's gonna practice about, I don't know what, 200, 300, 100 more times. And that's where it's like that. Remember those old knight movies where the two knights had to meet each other? They used to be friends or brothers, and they just went different ways. And then they finally, on the field of battle, they see each other, and they know one of them got to go. One of them is not coming out of this, but they salute each other because they know what the other one's bringing, and the other one knows what you're bringing. That's what it means to compete in the Toastmasters Speech Contest. So
it's kind of almost like those cowboys in the Old West standing off.
Exactly.
Only one comes out alive.
Exactly. Chad, if I compete with Chad, I know I'm gonna compete. I know I'm gonna practice 200-300 more times. I know it. And Chad's gonna be like, how you doing, Barry? And I'm gonna like, how you doing, Chad? And meanwhile, we're gonna be sitting there like, yeah, okay, you're gonna call me up. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna practice 50 more times just because you called me. That's what you have to do. So good luck, RJ. Good luck, RJ. It's a wonderful,
sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. You were awesome.
Thank you so much. All right, so Valerie Smith, second in command, Supreme Commander PQD. Am I dismissed, ma'am?
I just want to thank everyone for coming out for Barry Mixon's speech contest workshop. This is going to get you ready for writing a quality speech and presenting that story. Our next training is going to be October 10th. We want to get our clubs ready for their contest, and we want you to come out there and be your best. And that's going to be held online as well, but it's going to be at 7 o'clock and taught by Solomon Kelly. So we're going to look forward to your speeches and go all the way to the top, which is district, to get to international. So, but thank you, Barry Mixon, for your time. everyone will get this recording, and then you're just going to be fantastic.
Great.
Thanks
a lot, Valerie. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you. Let's give it up for Valerie. Let's give it up for Valerie. Let's give it up for Valerie. Yes.
Thank you. All right. And everyone have a great afternoon as well.